So Cam Reddish was going through it early in the year. His percentages were bad, his everything was bad. Although defensively, Cam has been pretty okay all season, so we'll give him that. But it just seemed like he wasn't ready for the NBA out of the jump, right? I mean, there was discussion about his potential in the league anyway, because it's not like he was that great in college, but you saw the size and the shooting form and the ball handling, and you said, this guy could be good. Again, wasn't great out of the jump, but he has been a lot better lately. In February, Cam is averaging 13 points, shooting 35% on about 5 threes a game. He's shooting some free throws. His best free throw game was 8 for 9 against the Mavs about 2 weeks ago. But I do want to start with the jump shot. It seems like he's just being the shooter people hoped he could be. I mean, it's not really much more to it than that. I mean, I don't think there were any drastic changes to his form. Like, his form was already pretty good and fluid. That's why it was puzzling to people why his three-point percentages were not better in college or whatever else. But it seems like it's coming around now, so hopefully he can just keep it going. I mean, I don't even think it's a matter of his three-point shot selection has improved. I thought it was a lot of catch and shoots beforehand, and now it's still pretty much that. So that's great. I mean, I don't think it was a matter of Cam thinking he was J.R. Smith or anything and just taking really bad ones. They're just simply going in now, so that's nice. You would assume that if he can just keep this going, then he can be at least an above-average shooter. I mean, I don't know, like, how good of a shooter do you have to be in your rookie season to project to being one of the better ones 3 years down the road? I don't really know. I mean, we've seen some dudes go from being blah to being very good. One that I think of randomly is like Joe Harris, whose, form was always good, but it simply wasn't going in his first 2 seasons, really. Granted, he barely played in his second year, but maybe Cam is on a similar trajectory, and we fast forward a few years and Cam can be an awesome shooter. I guess another way to look at it is in the last 2 months, Cam's shooting has been pretty similar to like how Buddy Hield's was in his rookie season, so basically who really knows is what I'm getting at with Cam's shooting, but it certainly looks more intriguing. That's good. If we talk about how he's going off the dribble, so he had the handle from early on this season. It was an intriguing thing, like watching him bring the ball up in the full court and stuff like that. It was like, okay, if he can get better at reading defenses and stuff like that, then he could use that handle for some good, and I think that has happened a bit lately. The Hawks are helping him out because they're running a lot of like handoff plays and that sort of thing for him, but there are times when Cam either gets the rebound and brings it up himself or has a screen and he's able to actually make something good happen. He's not over penetrating, he's not dribbling into the help as much, he's just doing a better job of predicting what the defense is going to do and then reacting to that, whereas it seemed early in the year when he would get the ball, he would just get tunnel vision and have his mind made up regardless of what the defense was doing. His mid-range has also been a lot better lately. I mean, he's shooting 63% on one mid-range shot a game in the last 15, which, okay, that's probably not going to hold up, but even so, like, maybe Cam can be a competent enough pull-up shooter in time as well. His game's just kind of coming together a bit more, it seems like he's not pressing as much, and he's just kind of reading the game, and it's the cliche of the game slows down at a certain point for you. It seems like that has happened, because he definitely looked overwhelmed earlier on in the season. Could John Collins' return have helped this out? Potentially. I mean, Cam's improvement lines up almost neck and neck with when Collins came back. Certainly, defenders would not be able to load up on you as much, so there's that. I mean, in the last 10 games, those two have played 186 minutes together, and it's actually been a positive. Granted, the defense hasn't been very good, but that's why they made the Clint Capella trade, and they're waiting on him. But it's still a positive because the offense has been so good with those two, and granted, I'm sure Trey is in a lot of those lineups as well. But yeah, you could sell me on the idea that the absence of John Collins made it really tough for Cam to do kind of anything, because it was basically Trae Young was the only other guy they had to care about, you know, or the only guy period they had to care about, really. So that's good, you know. Cam is projecting himself to be kind of a secondary off-ball type of dude, and that's, I think, pretty in line with what people hoped he could be. I mean, when was he drafted? It was the 10th pick. Like, that's usually about where you're not expecting a star, but just a solid enough player. And okay, you know, if Cam can keep on just doing stuff off the dribble, occasionally the ISO and pick and roll stuff, but more so like attacking closeouts and using handoff plays and dribbling in transition and using that handle to get to the line a bit, and then he's making jumpers and playing off of Trae Young and Collins, playing solid defense, and I think he can be a good rebounder, you know, solid 4 or 5 a game or whatever. That's a good player. I guess the fear is that Cam is just having a moment when some NBA teams are not as locked in towards, you know, this late in the season, but he's doing it against some good teams, and I think, you know, a 2-month sample size is pretty good. Granted, there's not as many games in February, but he's improved nonetheless. Can I think of any sort of a player comparison for Cam? I don't know. I mean, maybe Evan Fournier, if he grabbed a couple more rebounds. You know, 16, 17 point a game guy, can mainly play off ball, but a little bit on the ball, and just be a solid all-around offensive player, but not a star or anything like that. I guess the high end of it could be like Chris Middleton if Cam ends up being a very good shooter and defender and above average as an off the dribble guy, but I don't know. Regardless of where you project him as, at least it's going in the right direction, because the dude was getting a lot of heat early on, and I don't know how good or not good Cam is at blocking out the noise, but I'm sure if the dude searched his name on Twitter, he wouldn't have had a lot of good things come up. If he would have searched himself on YouTube, he probably would have had my video saying he sucked after like 4 games. So it's good. It's good that he did not succumb to the "I'm having a tough season" thing. He bounced out of it, and we'll see what the ceiling for Cam is.